Looking forward to the next Canon R5 and R6 firmware update. Looking forward to C-Log 3, Cinema Raw Light, 120 frames per second in 1080, and praying we'll finally get the 30-minute record limit removed? Well, then switch channels because I don't have any good news. This and more after the intro. Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Simon. Thanks for tuning in to The Ordinary Filmmaker. If you're new here, subscribe to get notification of new videos like this one so you don't miss any news, rumors, gear reviews, or tutorials. And by the way, I'm giving away a brand new Canon EOS R5 full-frame mirrorless camera to one lucky viewer. Details are in the description down below, or you can watch this video for more details, but essentially all you have to do is subscribe for your chance to win. But do look at the fine print down below because there are some locations and age group blackouts. Anyhow, now on to today's news. Now, many of us were disappointed by the latest Canon firmware update for the Canon R5 and R6. Now, I did speculate that we'd see another firmware update before Christmas, but Canon rumors dashed that, stating that the next R5 and R6 firmware update will come sometime in Q1 2021. Now, I don't like the sound of that. Q1 means anywhere from January up to the very end of March. Could be March the 30th. Craig did restate that Cinema Raw Light, C-Log 3, and 120 frames per second in 1080 are still coming to the R5. But like a teaser for an upcoming blockbuster movie, much was left out. He didn't confirm if we'd get those capabilities in the next firmware. This is one time where I hope Craig got it wrong, but he has it rated as a CR2, so I feel a little bit dashed on that. And there's no mention of eliminating the 30-minute record limit or what enhancements the R6 might receive. Now, in yesterday's video, I did talk about the 30-minute record limit and where it came from, and the Canon person that did talk about that. So go ahead and watch that video if you want to find out a bit more about where the source of that rumor came from. It wasn't actually a rumor. This came from Media, a Canon representative. But are we being too critical? Canon has provided us a firmware update every month since the R5 was released, as well as the R6. These cameras will continue to get better. They'll continue to be enhanced. I'm going to divert my attention away from this firmware situation to Christmas sales to get my mind off this story. Chase sent me some information stating that Canon in the US has already started Black Friday sales. Sadly, there aren't any in Canada yet. But speaking of sales and bargains, I was actually going to be heading down to Downtown Camera in Toronto later today. But sadly, it's snowing like crazy outside. I was actually out with the village mayor doing a review of the Crane 2S, and things were going quite well. He got up here around 9 o'clock. We got to the location by about 9:20 and started filming. Then, flake by flake, I started to notice a little bit of snow coming down. The R5 and the R6 are weather sealed, but not all of our gear was. So eventually it started to come down pretty hard, and then we had to pack it up. Looked at the forecast. It's supposed to snow until 2 a.m. this morning. Now, one thing about snow, I'm not afraid of driving in snow. I have winter tires or snow tires, and they're in good shape. But the last thing you want to be doing in a cold climate is being out on the roads in the first snowfall. Everybody's getting used to the snow. A lot of people still don't have their snow tires on, and there are a lot more accidents on the first snowfall than any other time. So I've decided to hold off going down to Downtown Camera, which is really sad because this is pretty well the last time, probably before Christmas, I can get down there on the weekend. On Monday, Toronto's going back to lockdown mode with basically curbside pickup, and that's it. And I was really hoping to be able to get my hands on the Canon RF 50mm f1.2. It's an expensive lens. It's about $22.99, and in Canada, it's $29.99. And that's a lot of money. Now, I can go ahead and sell my EF 50mm f1.2 and use the proceeds to drop the price to a more manageable $2,000. But I don't see the point in doing that unless I can really get a grasp on how quiet the focus motor is, how it fits in with the Crane. Now, it's not that much heavier than the EF 50mm 1.2, so I don't suppose the Crane's going to have a problem. But spending that much more money on a lens that I already have, if the focus motor isn't that much more quiet, well, I don't really see the point of that. So that's one of the things I wanted to try out today. Based on some thinking I've been doing and the feedback I got from a lot of you guys when I asked last week, I'm going to go ahead and get the 800mm. That's going to be the first purchase. I'm going to follow it up with a 2x extender, most likely get it in the same purchase. And I might even pick up the RF 50mm at the same time. So what I'm waiting for is Christmas sales. I haven't seen anything in Canada yet, but you know, Black Friday is still relatively new here. I do expect to keep an eye on things coming up to Friday. But so far, even on B&H in the US, I haven't seen any sales on the 800mm or the 50mm or even the 2x extender. But I'm pretty hopeful. I'm pretty sure that before we get to Christmas, we're going to see some really good sales on lenses. And the 50mm's been out for, what, a couple of years now? So I definitely expect some sales there. The R5 and the R6, not as much. These things are still in high demand. And the 85mm is relatively new. The 2x extender, that's a tough one. The 800mm, I wouldn't be surprised if they maybe knock $100 off or $50 off, but we're not going to see $300 off or anything insane like that. Even at its regular price, it's a good deal. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to talk to you about, and this sort of staggered behind the scenes. Over the past 6 months, I've learned a lot. Now, my lighting is pretty well exactly where I want it to. I've got a ring light on me here from 45-degree angles. I've got two Godox panel lights here that are facing each other and slightly tilted towards me, lighting me up and the desk. And then behind me, 45 degrees to the ceiling, I have another panel light that lights me up from behind. And then, of course, from behind me, you can see these Ulanzi lights that I'm doing a review on right now, and they provide a bit more color. But every now and then, my face will go completely blotchy, or I'll develop a pimple, or some wild squirrel will scratch the side of my face viciously. And when you're talking to people, they kind of don't look at things, they don't really notice it, but when you're in front of video, any blemish, any mark shows up. So there's multiple things you can do. Then the one thing I've done in the past, makeup. Don't laugh. If you're doing video in any serious way and you're online, you're doing news, TV shows, makeup is standard. A lot of times makeup is just used to avoid or covering up blemishes or lighting situations so you don't look like Richard Nixon when he debated John Kennedy all those years ago. He was hot, he was sweaty, and it made him look nervous and wasn't a good look. I don't really have that problem. My basement is very cold, so I don't need to worry about that. And my lighting, the way it's set up, not really a problem. But every now and then, I get a zit the size of Mount Olympus, or Olympus Mons on Mars. It's absolutely huge. And using some concealer like that covers it up quite nicely. Or I'll cut myself shaving, or something else. But I don't like to use makeup. It's got chemicals in it, and who knows how that affects us. So there's another way of dealing with this. I've got a very pale skin complexion. There's a little bit of olive in there, but basically pinkish, pink skin. My skin has got that pinkish tinge to it. And depending on where you're watching me, I can look as red as a tomato or as pale as a ghost. So what I do, and this works with my skin color, I don't know if it might work with yours, but try it out. What I do is I actually turn down the saturation. And so any facial blemishes where I'm a little red or blotchy is pretty much eliminated. And so that can really, really help. So don't shoot with standard or vivid colors. You want to tone things down, go with a neutral look, and then just drop the saturation a little bit. And that'll help clear up any blemishes to the point where they don't really show up that much. But that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching The Ordinary Filmmaker. Don't forget to subscribe for your chance to win the Synco Lav SE lavalier microphone and the M3 shotgun microphone. I'll be awarding these two prizes to one lucky viewer once the channel reaches 20,000 subscribers. And then, for about every 10,000 subscribers after that, I'll be awarding a new and better prize all the way up to 100,000. At which point, once I reach that plateau, I'll be awarding a brand new Canon EOS R5 full-frame mirrorless camera to one lucky viewer. And on that bombshell, thanks so much for watching The Ordinary Filmmaker. We'll see you again soon.